I'm the MVP, and I got to worry about trade talk. I'm the MVP. I'm the MVP of this league. The best basketball players in the world. I was honored with the MVP. The MVP, the best basketball player in the world. And when I lose, this is what I got to go through. When I lose,
the GOATs of the game, the best ballers on the planet, but even if you're one of them, you are never safe.
It's funny how everything plays out in this business.
Well, that's the hard part of the job.
As an NBA player, your basketball team is supposed to be your family, and the city you play in is your home. But sometimes in basketball, it's just business. There's no love, no heart, and no mercy.
I'm not here. It's never for you to speak.
Once upon a time, well, actually not that long ago, the term AI wasn't primarily used to refer to artificial intelligence and those questionable animal photos plaguing Facebook. AI was reserved for one man. AI was the incomparable Allen Iverson. If the question was, who was the greatest pound-for-pound player to ever step on the court? For many, the answer was the answer. Iverson absolutely dominated the NBA in his prime, and he did so despite standing just 6 feet tall in shoes. Just look at his resume. 11 All-Star appearances, Rookie of the Year, 4 scoring titles, 7 All-NBA selections, and of course, the richest individual prize in the game, an MVP award. Iverson bagged the MVP in 2001, the same year he took his Philadelphia 76ers to the NBA Finals. This was the first time Philly had made the trip since the early 1980s, and they did so on the back of AI's unstoppable scoring. Iverson was a 1 in a million talent, and despite everything he did for the team, for the city, the 76ers attempted to trade him. So much for the city of brotherly love. Luckily, they reconsidered, but to fans, the Sixers organization appeared ungrateful, disrespectful. Perhaps they were, and perhaps the league was just as guilty in that regard. Things would eventually get even worse for the answer, but we aren't going to talk about practice just yet, because there has long been a trend of ruthlessness when it comes to the NBA, the teams, and the way they treat some of their most talented players. The pattern of this behavior is there, and it's as plain to see as the pattern on those camo Spurs jerseys. Now that we've established that there is no greater individual prize in basketball than the NBA's MVP award, it should be more than enough to cement a player as an all-time great. It commands respect. So let's add 2 scoring titles, 3 assist titles, multiple years averaging a triple-double, and the most triple-doubles in NBA history. These are just a few of the accomplishments under the name of Russell Westbrook. Brody can ball, and that isn't a statement up for debate.
I just try to go out and do the best way I can.
What has long been questioned, though, is how Westbrook gels with his teammates, how Westbrook leads a roster, and how Westbrook handles pressure off the court. Since the former UCLA Bruin left Oklahoma City in 2019, he's played for 4 different teams in almost as many years. The number is even set to rise with the 2024 offseason. It seems that despite Westbrook's achievements, he doesn't make the cut anymore, and teams have no problem showing Brody the door as a result. The media amplifies the doubts too, as headlines about a Westbrook decline get clicks, and clicks are what the media want. And so more headlines about Westbrook getting old, slow, playing selfishly are what gets produced.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
And what happens when the NBA, the organizations within, and the media all show disrespect to one of their most talented players? The fans follow suit. Westbrook, once both feared and adored for his basketball talent, was suddenly made to endure relentless taunting from the stands and endless trolling online. Things eventually got so bad that they turned physical when a fan actually threw popcorn at the former MVP.
And the shit is getting out of hand, especially for me. Just the amount of disrespect, the amount of just fans just doing whatever they want to do. It's out of pocket, man.
From MVP to Westbrook, the media was most certainly guilty in the transformation. But consider all the money that a player like Westbrook has made the teams he's played for. Viewership, ticket sales, jersey sales. Does Russell Westbrook deserve better? Let's get back to Allen Iverson and look at one of the most egregious examples of the media disrespecting a basketball legend. Sixers had been taken to the NBA Finals, only to taste defeat at the hands of an all-time great Lakers team featuring Shaq and Kobe. Allen Iverson had taken the fight to the purple and gold, and he'd cemented his Philadelphia team as a true contender in the league. The Philly organization wasn't as kind as they probably should have been to their star man, but the media were much worse. In May of 2002, after a tough season, Allen Iverson's dedication to practice was questioned during a press conference. AI responded with a rant wherein he dropped the word practice a total of 22 times.
We talking about practice, not a game. We talking about practice, not a game, not the game that I go out there and die for and play every game like it's my last. Not the game. We talking about practice, man.
It became instantly famous, iconic, and even legendary. It became a viral moment before such things existed. The Answers practice rant has stood the test of time as one of the most memorable moments in Iverson's entire career. But what was the explanation behind the rant? Some media outlets ran with the story that Iverson was drunk. This is a claim that AI denies to this day. Combined with those reports of Iverson's previous off-court troubles, and people ate it up. In Philly, Iverson wasn't the GOAT, he was the scapegoat. You see, the truth behind the practice rant is actually much darker than you likely realize. Months prior to the presser, Allen Iverson's best friend was shot and killed. Days before the presser, the man responsible was put on trial for the murder of Allen Iverson's best friend. The answer wasn't drunk, he was grieving.
Stick your foot in my shoes and try to deal with what I go through in my life. My best friend, dead. And we lost. And this is what I gotta go through for the rest of the summer.
This was the part of the practice press conference that the media left out. This was the part of the press conference that was real. This was the part that explained Iverson's behavior. This was the part that gave us insight into the real-life struggles of a superstar basketball player. The thing is, the media, and many fans as well, only want to see superhuman athletes who possess no flaws. Players like Iverson or LeBron James serve as a superhuman escape from the mundane everyday life. If those players have personal problems, then to some people, that's an unwelcome reminder that those players are really just regular people one away from the bright lights of basketball. The practice rant was funny, though. It was amusing. It made headlines. It made money. It also painted Allen Iverson as a joke. An unstable, unreliable, and unpredictable athlete. The media and the NBA painted that picture by ignoring the fact that Iverson was reeling from the death of his best friend.
Everybody takes shots at Allen Iverson. It's just unfortunate that I can't punch back.
Sadly, this wasn't the last time that the NBA and the media showed a disturbing lack of empathy for a player after the loss of a loved one. In 2017, Boston Celtics star Isaiah Thomas learned of the devastating news that his 22-year-old sister had been killed in a car crash. While most people would need to take a break from their daily life in order to deal with such news, Isaiah Thomas decided to honor his sister by stepping onto the court and delivering a typically brilliant performance. Just one day after his sister's death, Thomas dropped 33 points on the Chicago Bulls. Straight after the game, he flew across the country to attend his sister's funeral. A few weeks later, Thomas went off for 53 points against the Washington Wizards. It was the second highest playoff points total in the history of the Boston Celtics. And Isaiah accomplished this feat on what would have been his sister's 23rd birthday. The least I can do is go out there and play for Isaiah Thomas. The undersized, unstoppable scorer pushed Boston to the Eastern Conference Finals, but then injury ruled Thomas out and the Celtics went home. Thomas finished the season 5th in MVP voting. Not only was he a certified basketball superstar, he was fiercely driven, competitive, and loyal to his team. Even when faced with unimaginable tragedy, Thomas did not turn his back on that team. So what did the team do? They turned their back on him. The Boston Celtics traded Isaiah Thomas. Thomas took it personally, which, given the circumstances, was understandable. He hit out at Celtics GM Danny Ainge. I might not ever talk to Danny again. What he did, knowing everything I went through, you don't do that, bro. Isaiah Thomas was never the same player. Now, some might say that the Celtics were smart to trade away a player due to injury problems, but Isaiah had given his all both on and off the court. In the end, it counted for nothing. It seems that no matter what a player does for an organization, when they aren't as useful as they once were, that organization tosses them aside. The Sixers did it to AI, it's how Boston treated Thomas, and Brody has long been bounced around the league. But what happens when the league itself turns its back on a star player? Carmelo Anthony is one of the greatest scorers in the history of the game. This is a player who went toe-to-toe with LeBron James for years. This is a player who shaped franchises, broke records, and made an undeniable impact around the world. In 2018, Carmelo Anthony signed a veterans minimum contract with the Houston Rockets. He played just 10 games, was then traded to Chicago, and was then waived by the Bulls. For fans, it was a heartless way to treat a surefire Hall of Famer. Melo was left out to dry, but shunned by the league he had helped grow on a global scale. It didn't matter that Anthony had achieved more than most on the court. He was now a surplus to requirements, and he became one of the most striking examples of a player being treated not as the legend they are, but as a washed-up, nothing-to-offer has-been. Luckily, Melo would make a return to the league and experience a somewhat satisfying send-off while playing with his old buddy LeBron James. That doesn't wash away the prior treatment, though. The NBA is the best basketball league in the world, but it's also a business. Should they be held accountable for how they treat their employees? Or are NBA players lucky to have simply made it to the league in the first place? Maybe anything else can be considered a bonus. But when you're considered the most valuable player on the planet, you'd at least expect your team in the NBA to treat you accordingly. Which basketball legend has been treated the harshest by the NBA? Let us know your pick in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that notification bell, like, and subscribe.